Well, it's a weekend afternoon, kind of a chilly day, last weekend of January, and I've got a project that I want to make, which is a four-finger drawer pull. And what I want to do is I want to make this out of hickory to match a cabinet that I've got. And I've got a sample here that I've done in the past out of cherry, just to show an idea of what it is that I'll be making. This is the way it would mount on a drawer. It would mount on a face, something like that, and give you four-finger access for a drawer pull. And so the stock that I've got to use is going to have to be 1 3/16 of an inch thick. So to do that, I've taken a fat piece of hickory and just doubled up the back of it, and so I've got a piece now that I can trim down to my 1 3/16. So that'll be my first cut on here. So everything locked in place. Okay, now off to the chop saw where I'll cut it at length. Alright, and there's our starter block. And next step will be to put some screw anchor points in here. So get set up on the drill press for that. Okay, now we're going to drill a couple holes for these threaded inserts. These are for 832 machine screws. So I've set up a brad point drill bit and I've marked it with tape. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper than what that insert would be. And now let's see how an insert fits in there. So I've got it on a little T-handle that'll help me insert it. Put a little beeswax on there. Help it slide those threads into the hickory, which is pretty hard wood. And then try just getting that thing to take a bite and thread on in there. Now we'll just double check for the mark on the next hole. See exactly where we are. Okay, get that one drilled. Now we're at the router table, and the cutter I'm going to use is an OG cutter. It's a fairly large cutter, and it'll set in the router like that, and then it'll make a cut on the drawer handle like that. So what we're going to do is fix it up so we can run it through, and there's a radius here that I want, so this handle's going to have to spin up and run through like that, and it's going to have to spin the other way, run through like that, and then rotate back down. So I've got a fixture to help me with that. So the first thing we need to do is get this thing chucked up and get some wrenches to tighten that thing in. Beef down on this thing pretty good. Okay, and then we'll bring that down the height that I want. And then this is part of the fixture that I'm going to use, and so I'll just put a couple Allen screws in here. Okay, so now we're getting this thing tightened down into the fixture. Okay, yeah, it's pretty strong. And then I've got the sled that I put together for this fixture. And what we're going to do, get the sled in there. There we go. Put a shim in here and put my little fixture in place. Another shim. Okay, hold everything nice and snug. And a cam clamp to hold that in place. And what we want to do now is run that across the router cutter, and at the end we're going to want to spin it up. And right now it's spinning up in the air because I've got stock here that's can eventually be removed, but what we'll do is off the edge, we'll spin it up like that and run the bottom of it through. All right, let's get this router going, and we'll see how it does with this first cut. And sample, this is we're making a lemonade early red cherry, so the piece that's left is to get the little spacing for the fingers cut out underneath it. And we'll make it next. Okay, we're getting close with our project. We now have the finger pull pocket that was milled out thanks to my father-in-law Larry using his mill to run a cutter through there and cut some step cuts to relieve the space for your fingers. And it's been sanded down. I've spared you of the tedious watching of that portion of the task. And now it's time to put some polyurethane on it to seal it. And the polyurethane that I'm using is water-based, and the reason that I'm using a water base on this is it's got a lot of light wood in it, and if you use solvent-based, it turns that wood yellow immediately, and the water base will leave it white. So if you're doing something that has some light grains like this hickory, or if you're doing like maple, then you might want to keep that white color, and so you use a water base. So we'll put our first coat on here. There isn't a whole lot to cover, but it'll be the first of, well, probably only 3 or 4 coats on this thing. So we'll get it sealed nice. On here. So just kind of take off any extra that's on there. This will require a little sanding before we put the next coat on, but that is pretty close. Alright, I'm not sure how close I can get this into focus, but that is what we're looking at so far. There's the finger pull, so it'll set like that, pull out like that. And set this down and let it dry for the evening. Alright, we are almost done. Now it's time to lay out the mounts for the holes on the cabinet door and drill some holes and mount the handle. So I've already been in here and marked where I want the screw holes. So I'll drill a pilot. Let's see how it's going to go. Okay. I think that'll do.